On the 7th of July 2008, Centurion Air Cargo Flight 162 was loading up for a chartered international cargo flight from El Dorado International Airport in Bogota to Miami International Airport. The flight was operated by Kalitta Air, and the aircraft was on a wet lease by Centurion Air Cargo. Flight 162 was being operated by a 27-year-old Boeing 747-200 Boeing special freighter that was equipped with 4 Pratt & Whitney JT9D engines. It was originally delivered to China Airlines in 1981 as B1886, then transferred to China Airlines' freighter division, China Airlines Cargo, in 1999 with registration of B18753. It was finally sold off to Kalitta Air in 2002 with the registration of N714CK. At the time of its crash, the 747 had a total of 90,613 airframe hours. On board were 8 crew members, including 3 pilots. The pilot in command was 50-year-old Brian Beebe, who had a total of 8,874 flying hours of experience, of which 2,874 hours were on the Boeing 747. His co-pilot and pilot monitoring was 49-year-old First Officer Frank Holley, who had accumulated 11,373 flying hours, of which 2,853 were on the 747. The flight engineer was 59-year-old Joseph Kendall, with a total of 10,665 flying hours of experience, including 2,665 hours on the Boeing 747. All in all, the crew was immensely experienced and were one of the best pilots that had flown for Kalitta at the time. At 3:28 AM local time, the Boeing 747-200 freighter with 180 tons of flour was pushed back from the gate for departure. At 3:53 AM local time, Flight 162 begins its takeoff roll from runway 32 right. A loud bang is heard in the cockpit immediately after the 747 rotates with a pitch angle of 14 degrees and at a speed of 162 knots. The bang is followed by 4 compressor stall sounds and a series of small clanking sounds and vibrations. The control tower informs Flight 162 that the number 4 engine is spitting flames. Flight engineer Joseph informs the captain that engine number 4 seems to have flamed out due to overheating. As engine 4 loses power, its engine pressure ratio drops from 1.7 EPR to 1.0 EPR within 2 seconds.
Stall.
1 minute after takeoff at 3:54, both the control column stick shakers and stall warnings are activated. A stick shaker is a mechanical device designed to rapidly and noisily vibrate the control yoke of an aircraft, warning the flight crew that an imminent aerodynamic stall has been detected. At 3:55:35, a second set of 4 rapid compressor stalls are heard, this time from the left side of the aircraft, specifically number 1 engine. Captain Brian then declares an emergency and informs the tower that they need to land as soon as possible. As the 747 begins its left turn at 3:56, the crew hear another set of 3 compressor stalls from the right of the engine, followed by more vibrations and a loud clanking noise.
Stall.
Don't sink.
Immediately after that, at 3:56:22, both stick shakers and stall warnings are activated, accompanied by don't sink warnings on the GPWS. In an effort to lighten the aircraft, either for landing or to increase the airspeed, the captain orders the flight engineer to dump fuel. At 3:56:46, another compressor stall is heard. At this point, the aircraft is barely controllable and near to an aerodynamic stall. At 3:56:57, the stick shaker activates again and continues to the moment of impact. Two final compressor stalls are heard at 3:57:10 and 3:57:12, accompanied by loud clanks. Centurion Air Cargo Flight 164 crashed into a farmhouse at 3:57:20. Two people in the farmhouse, 50-year-old Pedro Cerez and his 13-year-old son Edwin, were killed. All 8 crew members survived the crash, 5 of them with major injuries. The Colombian Group of Aviation Accidents and United States National Transport Safety Board opened an immediate investigation into the crash. Both the flight data recorder and cockpit voice recorder were recovered and sent for analysis. By examining the wreckage, the investigators found that the high-pressure turbine of engine number 4 was inefficient due to a large blade tip clearance, meaning the fan blades were too small for the JT9D engines. This caused extra pressure on the fan blades, reducing maximum thrust by 5.8%. The blade clearance, according to maintenance records, was found to be 0.25 inches, and according to engine manual provided by Pratt & Whitney, the fan blade clearance had to be no more than 0.21 inches. Engine number 1 suffered a structural failure of the low pressure turbine, which resulted in a number of metal pieces being ejected by the exhaust of the engine. Engineers, after examining engine number 1 on site of the crash, found out that parts of the low pressure rotor and the blades of the 2-phase high pressure turbine were missing or broken. Many of the high pressure turbine blades were found to have thermal damage that melted away the tips of their blades, exposing the internal cooling baffle and a bluish tint on the concave side of all blades. However, the exact cause of all these catastrophic failures could not be determined. Investigators also found that 87 seconds before the crash, engine number 2 suffered a number of rapid compressor stalls, each lasting about 2 to 3 seconds, resulting in constant decline and recovery in EPR. Investigators also revealed that the engines on Flight 162 were operating at a very high power setting, especially on takeoff, which could have resulted in a series of failures relating to engine number 1, but none of the theories could have been proved. In the final report, Pratt & Whitney issued a statement requiring the check of fan blade tip clearance every 600 hours and the need for the blades to be changed if any anomaly was found. On March 31st, 2009, the aircraft manufacturer issued revisions to the flight training of the Boeing 747 crew members to change the guidance on the use of overpower, stating that higher thrust settings should only be used if absolutely necessary and according to the situation. Centurion Air Cargo ceased operations in 2018, and Flight 164 was its only disaster.